Tupac shouldn't have been on that Billboard list because he's not one of the greatest rappers of all time. Yeah, I know. You in your feelings right now. But let's deal with these facts. Let's get into some of this straight game.
Life is like cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button notification. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of the straight game, please do me a favor and hit that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you looked at the title and you was like, this is clickbait. I don't do clickbait. I don't do information without the corresponding documentation or a statement of fact, right? And so what I want you to understand is that Billboard list, and I'm going to say this because most people don't understand, Tupac wasn't supposed to be on that list, if you will. You said, what you talking about? Tupac wasn't supposed to be on that list at all, period. But they said the greatest MC, greatest rappers of all time, right? Tupac wasn't one of the greatest rappers of all time. He wasn't. You said, man, you tripping. No. Tupac even said it himself. Listen.
And that's what I thought. I thought because I was raw, that I thought because I had talent in my heart. I never thought I was necessarily the best rapper, the best nuts, and I think I'm the realest nigga out there. I do think that. I think I own that. If I could patent being real, I think I own that. Because I think being real is just being true.
Now, I don't know what you feel, and I'm not trying to get in the way of what you feel about how you feel about Tupac. If you feel like he belonged on the list and he should have been number one, that's how you feel. I'm not into what I'm feeling. I'm listening to what Tupac said in regards to what he thought about himself and the category that he put himself in. And I think that's more important than any list, a conglomerate, Billboard magazine, Vibe magazine, Source magazine, or any other publication can make in regards to somebody who they ask or who the company asks to curate this list of rappers who they thought were the greatest rappers of all time, if you will, right? As a matter of fact, I don't even think that a lot of the rappers that were on the list should have been on there, but some of them should have. And so when you deal with that fact, yeah, my top five, consist of Melly Mel, Rakim, KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane, Ice Cube. That's my top five, if you will. You know what I mean? And like I said, so we're going to differ on a lot of things. But I'm telling you that Tupac shouldn't have been on that list, as you just heard him say. And the reason I say that is because there are categories, if you will, certain criteria in which you have to specify that this is based on, right? Now, a list with Tupac being on the best-selling rappers of all time, he belongs on that list, right? The list consisting of the most impactful rappers of all time, he belongs on that list. A list basically stating the title, once again, like Tupac said, the realest rappers of all time, he belongs on that list. Also the list, the most influential rapper of all time, Tupac is number one. If you can understand what I'm saying. And so when somebody or a company like Billboard creates this list, right? They have no, if it was about sales, okay, cool. But once again, if you're dealing with the most popular rapper of all time, Tupac is number one on the list. The most revered rapper of all time, Tupac is number one on that list. You understand what I'm saying? But the best rapper of all time, Tupac's not even on that list. He's not. He's just not. And the reason that I say that, you have guys who could rap way better than Tupac. You know what I mean? Like I said he didn't think that he was necessarily the best rapper, but the realest rapper. And being real is something that's very rare nowadays. Being authentic is something that's very rare nowadays. And that's why Tupac is revered so much, because most of the things that he went through were actually real situations. It wasn't humdrum. It wasn't drawn up for publicity. It was in your face, real time, dealing with the situation, no matter what it was. That's why you have so many rappers nowadays trying to compare themselves to Tupac, use Tupac name as a kind of launching pad for their career, and all of the other things that you could possibly think of that people do when they basically mention Tupac's name in the same sentence as their name, if there's some kind of new artist, new rapper or something like that, But yeah, that list that Billboard made, Tupac shouldn't even have been on that list. That's somebody else's thoughts and feelings about something that they probably really didn't understand or know anything about. And also, I would say that the controversy behind that list probably has gotten Billboard the most clicks that they have probably in the last 10 years. That, along with the statement that Melly Mel made in regards to Eminem and what that basically was from that perspective, that was probably the most clicks that Billboard has gotten in a very long time. I guarantee you that. They haven't put anything up like that made you want to go in and really, check Billboard as to what is and what isn't. I think Apple's list of, the top downloads and so on and so forth is now actually more important than Billboard's, top 100 or, top 200 records and so on and so forth. And so when you think about the overall situation involving that list, yeah, Tupac shouldn't have been on that. Tupac is not, one of the greatest rappers of all time. Tupac is the realest rapper, I would have to say, of all time. And there's nobody that is comparable when dealing with that situation, period, point blank. So when people look at the title and they say, well, I think, no, I'm not tripping. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell anybody how to feel about Tupac Shakur. Your feelings and how you feel about him as a fan are your feelings, and you have the right to feel any kind of way you want to, right? But once again, listen to Tupac.
And that's what I thought. I thought because I was raw, that I thought because I had talent in my heart. I never thought I was necessarily the best rapper, the best nuts, and I think I'm the realest nigga out there. I do think that. I think I own that. If I could patent being real, I think I own that. Because I think being real is just being true.
And so when you understand that, then you're going to understand where I'm coming from. Yeah, that didn't really matter to Tupac. Tupac wasn't playing a popularity game. He was living his life in real time. That's why it's so hard to compete. It's so hard to match up against. That's why you got Jay-Z, talking about, how much, he wanted the people to love him like they love Pop. You got 50 Cent talking about, he wanted the people to love him like they love Pop. You got all of these other top tier, A1 guys in the game mentioning Tupac's name. Because once again, they understand, just like what 50 went through, his situation was real. You know what I mean? And gave him that credibility, if you will, of being a real one. And it's led him to be the success that he is. And he's taken and capitalized off of those moments and those opportunities. And he's taking full advantage of them. I take my hat off to him. Jay-Z too. Jay-Z the same way. You know what I mean? And I want to say this, when you deal with giving somebody their props, right? I give Jay-Z and 50 Cent their props because they're not even supposed to be where they are. You see, I could look at like, say, a rich white guy, right? I could look at a guy, he come from money, his family had money, all of those things, and the likelihood of him being perceived or accepted as being a success was kind of already in the cards for him, right? But when I appreciate somebody for the perseverance, overcoming the obstacles, right, to be where they are despite the odds that they were presented in their life, right? And Tupac along with that, you know what I mean? Each of us have our different struggle, but all of these guys come from nothing, come from basically poverty. The hood, if you will, and dealing with different situations, 50, his mom, and he talked about that, and Pac, his mom, he talked about that growing up, Jay-Z dealing with, coming from Marcy Projects. And so I like to say that there's certain criteria that you put a person, that certain things have to cover in order to even mention that person's name and add them to any kind of list. But that Billboard list, Tupac shouldn't even have been on it. Like I told you, I gave you the other, titles that it would be appropriate to have him under. But as far as just being no, he was more than that. You know what I mean? He was more than just, that rapper. Now, but if you want to use his name because that if you put somebody else on the list as number one, from that perspective, then people going to be like, no, and it's going to create controversy. And I think that list was the whole, that the creation of that list, served its purpose, if you will. It created a whole lot of controversy because a lot of people talked about it. But at the end of the day, Tupac wasn't, one of the greatest rappers of all time. He's on a whole nother level. And I don't think that the category for that level has been even thought of yet. I would think the closest thing that you could come up with is a rap icon. An icon, So if you wanted to go with the icon move, the most iconic rappers of all time, Tupac would be number one. And then you can come up with whoever you want to, go down the line and say whoever else you want to, feel like based on that thing. But the most iconic rapper of all time, that's the list that I would go with Tupac being on, that places him on a whole nother level. And that category right there would be the top tier category of any judgment or list that you could possibly make. That would be that icon thing would be the top title that you could put on there that would give you the epitome of the game. It wouldn't be rapper, because you got a lot of rappers that weren't on that Billboard list that are better rappers alone than some of the other rappers that were actually on the list. Period. So when you deal with that fact, yeah. But like I said, I'm not going to tell you what to think. This is just a real perspective, a factual look at not only what I see from the fact of the information that what Tupac said about himself, but I think a lot of real people who understand what I'm talking about, they understand where I'm coming from. And yeah, Tupac shouldn't even have been on that list, because that list doesn't it didn't give the proper criteria. So if you were talking about Tupac, icon, one of the best-selling rappers, the most revered rapper, you know, all of those categories, he should be on that list. And I feel like most of them, he should be number one. Like I said, there's no other rapper who's had the impact on the game that Tupac had, period. Bottom line. Your boy DELRAY, straight game.